great place to start would be the Inspector General's report that was issued just 3 weeks ago, the scathing report about Jim Comey. But when I asked the chairman when we might have an opportunity to question Mr. Horowitz, he said, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. Of course you haven't thought about that. Too busy trying to impeach the president. Too busy slapping subpoenas on Corey Lewandowski.
The Judiciary Committee member Jim Jordan joins us now, along with his good buddy, Congressman Mark Meadows, both Freedom Caucus members. So, Jim, what was accomplished yesterday?
Well, I thought Corey Lewandowski handled himself very well. And look, he said the same thing numerous times to Republican members of Congress. Asked when he ran the campaign, a part of this campaign, if there was ever any type of coordination or work with Russia to impact the election. He said, no, there wasn't, which is interesting because that's the exact same answer Jim Comey gave us when he sat at that exact same desk, and Mark and I had a chance to depose him last year. It's also the exact same answer Bob Mueller gave us when we asked him that question, and he sat at that desk just a few weeks ago. So nothing new there, and Corey handled himself very well.
Congressman Meadows, it was the first time I could see the general media that always sides everything against Trump were really exasperated by the lack of preparation and objective that Nadler put forward yesterday. Did you sense that too?
Well, it was not only a lack of preparation, but it was a complete debacle. When you look at it, now they're 0 for 2. Remember, they brought in Bob Mueller, and it didn't go as well. And actually, you can make the case that they're 0 for 3. The whole 2.5 years of a Russian collusion narrative that didn't pan out because there was no collusion. Then they brought in Bob Mueller. It was a disaster. Then yesterday with Corey Lewandowski, it was another disaster. But Jim was pointing out a very good thing. It is two standards. You know, they'll bring in a janitor if the president uses the wrong recycling bin to try to disparage this president. But yet when it comes to Democrats and wrongdoing, they don't want to have witnesses. They don't want to have anybody there because they're afraid of the truth.
So now, today we understand it's an anniversary of Inspector Generals. One of them will be Mr. Horowitz. We know that he's been working on FISA abuse. How are you going to cut through the ceremonial portion of the hearing and get to maybe some substantive answers, Jim?
Well, we're going to ask him about the report that we should have had a hearing on, frankly, but Mr. Nadler and Mr. Cummings haven't scheduled it. We'll ask him about the report he released 3 weeks ago. Specifically, I want to ask him a little bit about what took place at the Trump Tower meeting when it was President-elect Trump. Because we always assumed they went up there to brief the president on the dossier so they could then leak that information and the press would print the dossier, which we know was complete garbage. But we also learned from Mr. Horowitz's report, they went up to that meeting trying to set up the president, trying to trap the president. Because immediately after that meeting, Jim Comey goes out, gets in his secure car on his secure laptop and starts typing notes. And Mr. Horowitz points out on page 17 and 18 of his report that they were looking to get information about their pending investigation, about the Trump-Russia investigation. All the while, Jim Comey is telling the president, you're not under investigation. So that is so wrong. I want to make sure we get into that a little bit today and a host of other questions as well.
And Brian, let me follow up on that because Jim hits a critical point. What we now have is when Jim and I were in there actually during congressional testimony asking Jim Comey questions, he gave conflicting answers with what the Inspector General has reported. So now what we've done is we've gone over his testimony and the Inspector General's report, and we find major inconsistencies. So today, hopefully some of that will come out. Now, that's not what the hearing's about because the Democrats wouldn't call him in, Michael Horowitz, to go over this scathing report, but we'll take that opportunity early and often to make sure the truth gets out to the American people.
Talk about the truth. Andy McCabe yesterday said that I will not be cutting a deal if I'm indicted because I did nothing wrong intentionally. I never intentionally misled. Jim, your thoughts real quick?
Well, the Inspector General had a little different story, Brian. He said he lied 3 times under oath. So, look, Andy McCabe can say only once. All I know is the Justice Department, as was reported last week, is moving ahead. And the Inspector General's report was as clear as it could be. He lied to the Inspector General. Right. He lied to the folks at the Justice Department. I think they got a completely different story there.
I just can't wait. If anyone gets in trouble with the FBI, hey, I didn't do it intentionally. It's no big deal. That's what we're supposed to all learn. Mark Meadows, Jim Jordan, good thing. Glad to see you guys get along for a change. Thanks for joining us this morning.